Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. Investigations uncover more state-funded projects that are either non-existent or overpriced. But as probers always say these days, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
And amid the flood probe, new Ombudsman Pauline Verzosa promises to waste no time prosecuting those involved and will file cases against officials next week.
Speaking of time, economic managers need lots of it as they review the proposal that will grant a one-month income tax holiday to workers.
Now with this direction now na meron tayong 421 ghost projects, mas mapapadali yan.
Madaling i-establish yung liability and accountability kapag ghost project. Hindi na mahaba yung yung case build-up nun. So mas mabilis tayo hopefully makakapag-file ng mga kaso.
Kung ako tatanungin, magtayo na lang ng bagong DPWH eh. Kasi I think it will take years and years for Secretary Vince to clean up.
The Public Works Department has identified at least 421 out of over 8,000 projects that do not exist. In short, ghost projects, the number of which could easily go up as investigators from the PNP, AFP, and the Department of Economic Planning and Development go through thousands more contracts. Question is, how much taxpayers' money was lost to these projects? Well, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon did not provide further details on that. What's clear to him is most ghost projects were found in Luzon and involved the top contractors named by President Marcos. There are other new companies that came up as well. For Dizon, at this point, the wheels of justice could start grinding from new information they submitted to the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI.
Yung ghost kasi yun ang low-hanging fruit yun. Meaning madaling i-establish yung liability and accountability kapag ghost project. Kasi ghost nga eh. No, hindi na mahaba yung yung case build-up nun. So mas mabilis tayo hopefully makakapag-file ng mga kaso.
Kung meron mga ibang distrito or regions na pwede namin tignan, kompleto na yung mga dokumento at mga ebidensya din, puntahan natin yan. No? Now with this direction now na meron tayong 421 ghost projects, mas mapapadali yan.
Aside from flood control projects, the DPWH will also verify farm-to-market road projects. Dizon says he has spoken to Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel about this. Meanwhile, the ICI has recommended that the DPWH cut by half the levels of authority for approving civil works procurement. The ICI hopes this will curb potential abuse in flood control projects. In its investigation, the fact-finding body found that existing LOA thresholds approved by former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan had contributed to irregularities. For the ICI, DPWH regional office ceilings should be reduced from 400 million to 200 million pesos and district level limits from 150 million to 75 million pesos. Secretary Dizon has pledged immediate action on this. But for Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, these adjustments may not be enough. Speaking in a media briefing today, Gatchalian floated a quite extreme idea: abolish the DPWH altogether.
Kung ako tatanungin, magtayo na lang ng bagong DPWH eh. Kumuha ng bagong tao kasi I think it will take years and years for Secretary Vince to clean up. Kung nakita ko nga doon, in ghost projects, yun na binanggit kasi kanina, napansin ko, buong Pilipinas eh. Diba? Hindi lang limited to Bulacan, buong Pilipinas. So, ibig sabihin, buong Pilipinas may corrupt DPWH officials.
Yeah.
So, how do you clean that up?
Meantime, the new ombudsman vows to immediately buckle down to work. Pauline Verzosa says he will file cases in connection with the flood control scandal within the next few days. Camille Samonte has the report.
Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla is officially the 7th Ombudsman of the Philippines. He took his oath before Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonen, who reminded the former DOJ chief to uphold integrity and vigorously fight corruption. And on his first day on the job, Remulla promises to get the ball rolling on the flood control scandal. As early as next week, he vows to file cases against personalities being tagged in the mess with the help of anti-graft court Sandigan Bayan.
Ang timeline niya, syempre, on the evidence pa rin eh. Pero marami na naman kami nakukuha na evidence. Talagang sisikapin lang namin na mabuo ng gusto. Kasi nga ayaw namin na kami maging cost ng delay. Pag nag-file kami, ready kami for trial.
No fear or favor in the pursuit of cases against the country's top officials. Remulla promises no sacred cows in the probe, whether they be friends, relatives, or even political allies of the one who appointed him to the powerful post, President Bongbong Marcos.
Wala ho tayong sinisino rito. Kung mataas man o mababa, kahit umabot na senador yan, kung sa maabutin yan, gagawin natin.
So sir, kahit ka mag-anak po ng Pangulo na talaga po sa...
Wala naman tayong choice dito, yun ang ebidensya. Pwede ba natin i-deny ang ebidensya?
Ombudsman Remulla is also laying down the groundwork to make sell-ins accessible to the public. 5 years ago, Ombudsman Memorandum Circular Number 1 placed restrictions on access to statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of officials. The Supreme Court, Senate, House of Representatives, and a few other agencies followed suit and have required notarized forms from requesters of such documents.
Hihingi tayo sa lahat ng requesting parties undertaking na hindi gagamitin ito sa paraan na hindi makakabuti sa bayan. Kasi baka mamaya maging political noise lang yan.
Meantime, Remulla says he is still in favor of Senator Erwin Tulfo's much-talked-about bending the law statement, wherein he called for contractors Curly and Sana Discay to just give up funds they allegedly stole from government even without a court case.
Bending the law but not breaking the law. Diba? Ano yan eh? It's a figure of speech. That is the entitlement of the senator who asked me that question. But I made sure that he's not asking me to break the law.
Remulla has a fixed tenure of 7 years and will remain ombudsman until the year 2032. Kapatid Camille Samonte, we are One News.
So much expectations from the new ombudsman, right?
It's very, and
It's a heavy burden.
It's also a very controversial appointment, at least on social media it is. He is the first partisan politician who is going to be ombudsman. Usually they pick someone from the judiciary.
Well, Congressman Tino did say the big challenge now for Ombudsman Remulla will be to really prove that he has no political color, although being allied with the Marcoses. His family has this long alliance already with the Marcoses. And yun nga, yung sa sell-ins, kailangan i-rescind yung memorandum order of a former
That's the first act dapat.
Ang dami na nga niyang first act.
Daming expectations.
Yung listahan niya siguro, to-do list, number one.
Well, you know, he has served many administrations from ERA to Duterte and the Marcos administration. So let's see.
Maybe it'll be different, no? Now that our ombudsman is not from the judiciary. It's the first time, so you're right about the expectation, though. The weight of that is...
We're waiting for our guest to be able to weigh in on this new appointment, among other things. Is she ready? Not yet. Okay, but you know, I just want to share, apparently it's the anniversary of the hostage taking of, well, our next guest is Representative Laila de Lima. She was held hostage while in detention in the PNP. And today, well, we'll ask her if I got the dates right, is the 3rd anniversary. Can you imagine you're already detained for political reasons, then you're held hostage, and at knife point, I think it was. So
she was also at the custodial center, di ba?
Yes.
When this happened.
Yes.
So medyo parang, that's supposed to be like an extra safe, or at least I had the impression, dapat.
Yeah, dapat. So, and also, well, there was a controversy with the DOJ with respect to her case, right? Because they wanted to pursue it, but then then Justice Secretary Remulla stepped in.
Yung
Yeah.
itadrop, tapos babawiin sana.
Oo, babawiin
Babawiin
sana.
yung acquittal.
Oo. So, tatanong rin natin yan sa kanya. At the same time, every day is a stunning expose, on this
Every day is a
flood
stunning.
control scandal. 421 ghost projects.
Pero I don't know where to stand. Parang when we demand accountability, everyone's pointing out that it's a process. Di naman pwede bara-bara magdalhin sa kulungan.
yes.
Ang hirap kasi, you're right, every day, new exposes, then everyone's so
Yeah.
gigigil.
So agitated.
Yeah. Agit talaga na. You get kind of aggro, aggressive, and you want someone to like pay for it.
But I guess a huge reason of that as well is yun nga, yung the lack of transparency of the ICI's investigations. We keep on repeating it, right? But I guess more knowledge on where they're really headed would at least satisfy that thirst for information of the public.
Yeah.
Or had the Blue Ribbon probe.
Okay, we
ongoing.
now, it's time to bring in our first guest tonight, Mamamayang Liberal Party List Representative Laila De Lima. Good evening to you, Congresswoman.
Good evening, Ces. Good evening, Shawn and Pauline. Good evening to your viewers.
So our new ombudsman took his oath today. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations?
Well, of course, the people expect a lot from him because, look at the Times. The Times really call for an ombudsman that will really be true to his mandate because of all these revelations about corruption, the gravity and the magnitude of the corruption at the infrastructure sector, the flood control projects is such that it really calls for somebody with enough political will, with enough courage, with the right legal acumen to really go after the perpetrators.
Is he up to the task? Is he up to the task sa tingin nyo? Kaya ba?
Oh, yes. Well, kakayanin, kung talagang kakayanin, kung siseryosohin. He has the right legal acumen, the skills, and then the experience. The DOJ secretary, matapang naman si Boying Remulla. Ang kulang na lang na dapat ipakita at patunayan niya sa atin ay yung kaya niya talaga na panagutin lahat. Wala siyang sasantuhin, kaalyado man sa politika because Boying Remulla used to be a politician. He's a political animal. He's been a congressman for a long time. And then yung kaya niya na panagutin kahit halimbawa kamag-anak niya, kahit halimbawa yung appointing authority niya. So yun na lang ang talagang kailangan niyang patunayan. Wala siyang pipiliin na kulay sa kanyang mga dapat panagutin. Basta ba nandyan yung ebidensya? Basta ba may pananagutan ng isang tao, anuman ang kanyang posisyon sa gobyerno, ay dapat gawin niya.
Yung sagot niya kanina tungkol sa SALN, katanggap-tanggap ba sa inyo o dapat talagang i-require na lahat ng nagsisilbi sa gobyerno ay ilabas ang kanilang SALN?
Ano po ba yung naging sagot niya? I'm sorry, Ces.
Meron siyang mga limitations katulad ng
Data privacy.
Data privacy.
Mga ganyan.
Baka daw gamitin. Kailangan kung sino ang nagre-request, may request process pa din how should we deal with these SALNs? Should we require all government officials, elective and those serving in the executive, to, as soon as they assume office, release their SALNs?
Well, there's no problem with that. Para sa akin po, ay pwede naman pong gawin yan. Although we should remember, Ces, na sa SALN, meron na dyan may waiver na dyan na pwede talaga natitingnan ng ombudsman ang bank accounts at pwede talagang tingnan yan ng ombudsman yung mga assets at yung ng public officials concerned. Now, yung
publicizing these.
Yes, he can always do that. He can. There should still be really safeguards to avoid, to preclude abuses para gamitin, para ipitin lang o para gamitin for political purposes. But the general rule should be disclosure. The general rule should be to require really all public officials to immediately disclose, to immediately publish their SALNs. In fact, kung kailangan talaga ng isang malinaw na batas para dyan, I'll go for that. And there are already members of House of Representatives who are going for that, who will be pushing for that, and I will be supporting that kind of a legislation.
Is there a measure pending? Meron ba? Is there a measure pending in the House?
I have yet to check that. Although the Akbayan representatives have already taken the lead, they have already released their SALN. But better if there is really a law that would compel everyone to publish the SALN as soon as they assume public office.
Because I understand that if your assets exceed your earnings, the government can already confiscate. It's in the anti-graft law.
Yeah, if there is no reasonable explanation dun sa the mismatch between your earnings and also your assets, because it can also be explained, for example, inheritance, etc. But with respect to the official income in government, and then being disproportionate to the assets, ay pwede talaga. And then there are other laws that can really govern that. And there's a need to revisit all these laws para mas maging deterrent to mga acts of corruption of public officials. Yes.
Congresswoman, won't we revert to that argument, no, parang sa political dynasty law na medyo, but why would they want to pass it? Kasi they're protecting themselves. That argument. So you might have an uphill battle even if you have a really good bill to lobby for it in both houses for it to become a law, right?
Yes, it is. It is always an uphill battle, but with the kind of environment now that the people really are asking for blood, that the people really are very angry, that the people really demand for accountability, demand for transparency. And in fact, it's really high time to push for the enactment of anti-dynasty bill and other anti-corruption bill. I myself, my staff is studying already for some other anti-corruption bills, for example, those patterned after Singapore models, and also the Hong Kong models, and then with respect also to the RICO bills, and all that. We really have to tighten up safeguards, to tighten up financial related matters, and not only with respect to bank accounts, and all other areas. And then yung sa, of course, AMLAC, and in terms of forfeiture of assets, and we all need to revisit that, to review that. So after nitong budget cycle na malapit na namang matapos, kasi nga tomorrow would be the period of amendments, and then on Monday would be the third reading sa House of Representatives, we need to focus on all such kinds of bills. Kasama na rin yung anti-political dynasty bill. Siguro naman, if there would be higher chances or better chances for such kinds of bill to be duly considered at the House of Representatives, even if marami-rami pa rin ang mga dynasts na members of Congress. But we have to do it. The progressive forces in the House of Representatives have to really be determined to push for all these kinds of bills.
It's a perfect timing.
Yes.
Because you have the people behind you. You might as well do it.
But conversely, inside the House, no, there's also a change in leadership. Do you feel na nagkaroon ng shift then, just to Piggyback on what Seth said. Since naging bago na yung House Speaker, do you feel na mas willing yung mga lawmakers mag-pass ng mga ganitong types of bills?
Yes, the House leadership and the House of Representatives as a whole is now more conscious. In fact, the budget process is now being more capable and sensitive about what the people want. They know that the people are watching. So mas open na ngayon sa mga ganyang mga reforms, including those in the political system, including those in the electoral reforms, and especially sa mga anti-graft and anti-corruption initiatives. Mas open na po ngayon kasi mas conscious. Alam nila na binabantayan po ng taong bayan ang mga galaw. Yes.
Congresswoman, speaking of House leadership, you recently questioned bakit hindi napapabilis ito or napaprioritize itong House Bill 4453, which seeks to provide more powers for the ICI.
Yeah.
Are you not gaining enough support from your colleagues in the lower house?
We're still pinning our hopes on the new House leadership na baka naman because nga busy pa lahat sa budget, pero we're already expecting na as soon as matapos na itong budget up to Monday, as I said, and lalo na magbe-break muna kami ng konti, and then magre-resume sa November 10. But even before November 10, pag-uusapan na talaga itong House Bill 4453. At yung Pangulo rin ay para ma-certify na rin as urgent. Kasi we have had a chance to already discuss it or to talk to the new speaker, Boji D. And he was very open, very receptive about it. At ang sabi pa nga niya, ay kakausapin din niya ang Pangulo. Although medyo I was a bit disappointed na hindi na isama doon sa LEDAC. We were expecting na kasama siya doon sa priority set of bills sa LEDAC. Pero hindi naman, it doesn't mean naman na hindi talaga ito ipupush ng House leadership. But like tomorrow or even on Monday, ay susubukan uli namin at kakausapin si Speaker Boji D. Kasi diyan talaga makikita yung seriousness, lalo na ng Pangulo. Kasi nga, many are really clamoring to lalo na yung lack of transparency ng ICI. Gusto nga namin i-address yan dyan sa House Bill na yan. On top of really giving it more teeth kasi nakukulangan din kami sa kanyang mga powers. And then yung lack of transparency, that's really worrying, that's worrisome. Diba? Na hindi natin alam talaga. Yung hindi pwede yung sasabihin lang na ayaw nila ng magkaroon ng trial by publicity. But it really depends on how they handle the proceedings. And mas maganda yun, nakikita ng publiko para kung later, yung sa mga magiging findings and recommendations nila, makikita rin ng publiko kung tama yung mga magiging findings, recommendations, at wala silang mga pinagtatakpan.
So why did Malacanang miss that opportunity? Bakit hindi sinertify as urgent ni Presidente?
Yung House Bill number 4453, yun ang expected namin na isi-certify as urgent. We're not losing hope na gagawin pa rin yan ng Pangulo na i-certify niya as urgent. I think he knows na kulang pa ang powers ng ICI. And I think he knows na kailangan na yung, if it's a presidential creation, it cannot be perceived as truly independent. Iiba kapag it's a creation of law, of Congress. So umaasa pa rin ho kami, kahit medyo nadidelay yung action nila.
Okay.
Congresswoman, it's not just the DPWH and infrastructure projects. You also want the House of Representatives to look into this so-called haunted hospitals. Ano po ba yung nahanap niyo doon, Congresswoman?
Kasi may mga
ghost siya, ghost.
Even sila Congressman, sila Representative Chel Jokno. Kasi yung mga hospital facilities na ganyan, may mga may mga malaking budget for mga health centers, lalo na marami rin pala yung mga hindi naman natatapos. And then, partial lang. And then o kaya yung mga kukumpleto, pero wala namang mga personnel, wala namang mga facilities. So, ano yan? Anong klase? Sino ba sino ba diyan? Mga multo ba? Ang mga ginagamot diyan? So, we have information also. There is corruption within DOH. So pinapaimbestiga ho namin yan. Chel Jokno has filed his own version of the resolution. Ako rin po, I just filed it yesterday or the other day. And we hope na masimulan din kaagad ang hearing dyan sa resolution na yan. So meron din corruption within the DOH with respect to those health centers or public hospitals. Nagkukulangan din ako sa mga hospital beds. Sa mga DOH public or government hospitals, saka certain facilities, yung mga sa ICU. So kaya nga in-insist din namin yan during the budget deliberations.
Congresswoman, looking at changing the system, how we can limit corruption, the party list has been prostituted by in the last how many election cycles. Well, now that you have made it there through your party list, how can we check on this? How can you limit? How can you assure that only those representing marginalized sectors are elected, are even considered? Ano po ba ang pwede niyong gawin? Although I know that the Supreme Court has allowed, a ruling has allowed the entry of any Tom, Dick, and Harry into the party list.
Good that you mentioned that, Ces, no? Kasi actually kami ni Congressman Chel Jokno, na-elect kami ng, we have this party list coalition, na-elect kami as part of the legal team that will propose amendments to the party list system law. So magko-convene kami after the budget process para to introduce reforms, amendments to the party list system law. Kailangan talaga.
Salamat naman because Saldico obviously entered the political arena to continue his shenanigans.
Isa yan sa mga isa talaga yan sa hindi maganda sa party list system ng mga nakaraang mga taon na taliwas dun sa vision ng Constitution. Maganda ang layunin ng party list system sa Constitution natin. Kaya lang binastardize kasi biro mo, may mga representatives na mga kontratista o kaya yung mga big representing big businesses. So anong klase mga party list yan?
Dynasty extension.
And dynasties.
So wala pa ba tong bill? Hindi pa tapos ang bill? Hindi pa?
Hindi pa, gagawin po namin yan. That's why a committee was created. So kasama kami nga po ni Congressman Chel Jokno in charge dyan in introducing the amendments, the necessary, the long overdue amendments to the party list system law. Siyempre, seseryosohin ho namin yan. Para ho kasi yung iba nga ho ang nag-advocate na i-abolish na lang. Wag naman po natin i-abolish yung party list system kasi maganda nga ho ang layunin. Ang problema lang ay binastardize. Yes. So ang kailangan lang ay i-reforma po natin ng maayos yung party list system.
Urgent din. Sana urgent.
Yes, we're committed to do that. Yes.
Last question. Bukas tama may plenary kayo for amendments, no? Kagabi kasi kausap namin si ACT Teachers Party List Tino, Representative Tino, ang sabi niya gusto niyang tapyasan ng 700+ million yung budget ng OVP. I'm sure you know this na. Paglalaban niyo ba bukas? And any idea how that's gonna go ahead of the plenary?
Yes, I am certainly also pushing for the amendment. Minanifest ko na po yan. Dahil nga po dun sa hindi pagsipot, yung no-show ng VP. She cannot even share a few hours of her time to defend her own budget. Para sa akin po, klarong pang-iinsulto ito sa amin, sa aming institusyon. Yung House as an institution, hindi ho dapat na palampasin yan. So balak po talaga tapyasan, balak po i-reduce yung budget. Now, pina-finalize na po ng aking staff. Hindi ko pa po pwedeng sabihin kung magkano ang imo-motion ko bilang reduction, the amount of reduction. Mag-uusap din po kami ng ibang other members of the minority. Kasama na rin po si Congressman Tino tsaka dun sa iba who share our view na kailangan i-reduce. And of course, we will also convince the rest of the members of the House. Tingnan ho natin kung susuportahan po kami ng majority of the House of Representatives. But we have to do it in defense to uphold the integrity of our institution. Because kung hindi niya kaya ni VP na respetuhin ang individual members of the House, ang gusto lang namin ay wag yung masanay siya na binabastos niya yung institusyon.
Quickly, before we let you go, Congresswoman, is today the anniversary of the hostage-taking incident when you were in detention?
Yes, October 9, 2022. Early morning of October 9, na akala ko nga ho, katapusan ko na po, pero hindi pa. So, masakit na alalahanin yun, pero kailangan din talaga alalahanin yun. So, this is really the third anniversary, October 9. It was a Sunday, actually, when it happened.
Because you have to pass the law to safeguard the party list system. we thank you.
Dapat gawin. Ang dami pa dapat gawin, lalo na sa mga
Yeah, daming dapat gawin. We thank you for your time, Congresswoman or ML Party List Representative Laila De Lima.
Now, in other news, fear gripped residents in northern Luzon after a powerful earthquake at 10:30 this morning. CCTV footage inside a resto bar in La Trinidad, Benguet captured lamps shaking. Outside, trees also shook while motorists can be seen stopping or slowing down. PHIVOLCS identified the quake's epicenter in Pugo, La Union. The tremor's magnitude was first recorded at 4.9 and later downgraded to 4.4. Nevertheless, the shaking felt was at intensity 5, which was also experienced in Baguio City, other areas in Benguet, Mountain Province, and Pangasinan. These were the same places that experienced the magnitude 7.8 earthquake back in 1990, which killed 1,600 people. In Baguio City, there was panic among residents and tourists, while members and personnel of the City Council also sought an open space while the trembling occurred. Classes and work had to be suspended for the day in the summer capital. Local officials are now conducting damage assessments and checking the integrity of structures in the city.
Yung premo siguro, ito mga, based sa observation namin, siguro mga 7 to 9 seconds. And then immediately po, nag-proceed na kami sa open area, the evacuation area. We stayed outside po ng around 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes para ma-check po kung may mga aftershocks. Pakita po natin, based po kasi sa ating reporting, na-practice naman po na sunod yung evacuation procedures.
We're going to be taking a quick break, but still to come. The Securities and Exchange Commission chairman says he deeply regrets saying that the flood control scandal has wiped out 1.7 trillion pesos in stock market value. That and more stories when we return. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. Is pork barrel back? The People's Budget Coalition believes so. The group claims there are at least 230 billion pesos of it in the proposed 2026 national budget. For some congressmen, pork has taken on a new form in unprogrammed appropriations.
When you say pork barrel kasi unclassified talaga yan eh. Looking at the funds and looking at the proposed NEP, naka-itemize at naka-program na nga po yan.
So wala pong pork?
So palagay ko po, wala naman ho. We are confident to say na wala pong pork barrel.
Unprogrammed appropriations are items that are parked in the budget and are only funded if government posts extra revenue. In the 2026 National Expenditure Program, 250 billion pesos was set aside for this. But why is this a red flag? In the 2023 and 2024 national budgets, a total of 141 billion pesos was taken from unprogrammed appropriations for flood control projects. Akbayan Party List Representative Percy Sendanya wants the unprogrammed appropriations for 2026 removed altogether. That's after he discovered allocations made for items that have already been paid. Adjong, however, maintained that parts of unprogrammed appropriations are still necessary for emergencies.
Yung sinasabi na nabayaran na daw, which begs the question, kung nabayaran na siya, bakit pa rin siya nandoon? So talagang marami kailangang ipaliwanag pagdating dito sa puntong ito. So we are really alarmed dito sa development na ito sa UA, and still DBM has a lot of explaining to do.
Moving on to another story, the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, now admits that his source of a wipeout in the stock market is, well, fictitious. SEC Chair Francis Lim jolted the business community when he said before the Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines, or FINEX, that the value of the local bourse has shed 1.7 trillion pesos due to the corruption scandal. Well, it is true that the PSEI has declined by 8% this year, making it one of Asia's worst performers. The president's economic czar belies Lim's claims and assures that investor confidence remains solid.
The business confidence is still solid. I think you can see that from multiple sources of information. No? But of course, there is this short-term challenge that we have to overcome. Primarily because of the negativity in our news or in our social media news feeds. No? So I think it will really help our country if we start moving on from this.
Hours later, Lim backtracked, apologizing for uttering a claim from a fictitious source. He said his only goal was to show the effects of corruption on investor confidence. Meanwhile, investment czar Frederick Go also says the president's economic team needs time to study the proposal of Senator Erwin Tulfo. That's to grant an income tax holiday amid the multi-billion peso corruption scandal.
Bago po to, kailangan pag-aralan to na mabuti ng Department of Finance at ng DBM po. This is quite a big matter, no? And I think it's best to give the DOF and the DBM time to carefully study this proposal.
Here's another development in business. The Bangko Sentral this afternoon made the surprise decision to cut rates by 25 basis points on the back of a weaker economic outlook. The target reverse repurchase rate now stands at 4.75%, marking the fourth consecutive meeting that this key rate was lowered. The overnight deposit and lending facilities rates were also cut to 4.25% and 5.25% respectively. Majority of analysts polled by Business World expected the BSP to stand pat. Central Bank Governor Eli Remolona Jr. said that benign inflation cannot make up for weak GDP outlook brought about by lower infrastructure spending. Recent forecasts from the IMF, or International Monetary Fund, and S&P 500 have trimmed this year's GDP forecast for the Philippines due to the corruption scandal.
And now on the foreign affairs front, the DFA has clarified that a forex snub in Norway was just a mistake. It said a foreign exchange stall in Oslo's Gardermoen airport used an outdated list that still tagged the Philippines as high risk for money laundering. The Financial Action Task Force and European Union removed the Philippines from their gray list back in February and August respectively after measures were strengthened to combat financial crimes. The incident involved the mother of one news host, Gretchen Ho, who was denied a dollar exchange at the airport. The DFA said Norway has committed to delist the Philippines on Forex companies' list of high-risk countries. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has nominated his political ally Lee Lipton as next U.S. ambassador to the Philippines. The White House said his nomination was sent Wednesday to the U.S. Senate for confirmation. Lipton is a former business executive and current U.S. envoy to the Organization of American States. If confirmed, he will succeed Mary Kay Carlson for one of Washington's most strategic posts in Asia.
Moving on to the weather now, we actually have a tropical storm in our midst right now. TS Quedan's last location is over 1,000 kilometers east-northeast of extreme northern Luzon. In other words, just at the very tip of the Philippine area of responsibility. However, it will barely have any effect here in the country and is projected to exit the PAR by tonight or tomorrow morning. What is truly affecting us, though, is this low-pressure area over the West Philippine Sea, which Pag-asa says will no longer intensify into a cyclone. Nevertheless, this LPA, including its trough or the winds on its tail end, will be bringing heavy rainfall over many parts of the country, including over Metro Manila.
All right, we're just going to pause for another breather, but after that, we introduce you to Playbox, a company that bridges creativity and sustainability. This is the big story on One News. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the big story. A community group is building a bridge between sustainability and arts and crafts. The Playbox Arts and Workshops introduces creativity and ecological responsibility through various workshops, including natural dyeing and printmaking. These activities include Kulay Ani, where participants explore how colors can come from natural sources to make textile prints, and Parent-Child Silk Screen Workshop, where artists at Heart use water-based, non-toxic inks to create their own prints. Playbox is part of the 15th Likhang Hobby Market Fair, which will begin tomorrow until Sunday in Makati. Here we feature sustainable initiatives, one story at a time. Welcome to Sustainability. And joining us to discuss more about arts and sciences is Vanessa Liwanag Librero, a cultural worker and founder and resident artist at Playbox Arts and Workshops. Good evening, teacher Vanny.
Good evening, Ces, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you for coming. Now, I'm so exciting. Tell us about what you've brought here. These are natural dyes, right?
Yes.
That can be used on...
Yes, on fabrics, on prints. So I have here a small platter of our plant-based dyes, some of the common Philippine plant dye sources. So we have here talisay leaves. We have the neem bark, sapang or sibuka wood, and luyang dilaw, one of the most common and most highly available colorant. And here, some samples of naturally dyed fabrics, such as this one. So this is mahogany, talisay, Philippine indigo. And here we have powdered dyes indigo, from natural dye produced by our artisan partners from Abra Namarabari indigo producers.
So we grow indigo. We have an endemic plant.
Yes, Indigofera tinctoria. That's our local indigo, Philippine indigo.
Okay.
So that the color purple that we're seeing on your
Yes,
scarf?
this is a combination of Philippine indigo and sapan wood. So if you combine them, it becomes purple. And the nice thing about sibuka or sabang wood, this is highly pH sensitive. It shifts colors depending on the modifier that you use. The colors produced can be pinkish red to maroon, and it can be purple when you use a color modifier.
Anong itsura ng puno na to when you see simbuko?
Sibukaw.
Sibukaw.
Or
Gusto ko magtanim.
It's thorny. It's traditionally used as a border tree, as between borders, because of the thorns.
Bakod.
Yes. But you have, the part is the heartwood, and it takes 60 years for the tree to mature. So farmers have to be really conscientious about growing and making sure they harvest at the right time. Now
60 years.
60 years. So you can plant now, take care of it, and then tell your children.
Generation.
Yes. But the nice thing about the wood is you can use it plenty of times. So even if you do natural dye, you can use it like up to 60 times. If you're a natural dyer, you tend to really make the most of your resources. For example, the leaves. Here, talisay, we have the fresh leaf. and you have the brown leaf. They both produce wonderful colors.
And the
green?
talisay tree is beautiful.
It's everywhere.
Yes, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And the lovely thing about it, you can use the fresh leaf or the ones fallen.
And what color do you get? I mean, green? Is it
Yellow.
Is it here somewhere?
This is the talisay.
Talisay
these
black?
are the
Talisay
samples.
yellow.
Ang ganda.
Yeah.
And if you
Talisay.
add a color modifier, it becomes talisay black. So from just one plant,
Teacher Vanny,
you
so
have
how do
two
you
colors.
extract the color?
I'll make it into
For
powder.
indigo, it's different because in indigo, we need a fermentation and reduction method.
Okay.
You can do it fresh leaf. Traditionally, we gather the indigo leaves, let it ferment for a day, and then using reduction agent like lime, we create a
Lime,
reaction.
the fruit? No.
Lye.
Lye, panggawa ng sabon.
Yeah.
Or
LYE.
hydrated lime.
Yeah, okay.
So we create a reaction where there's oxidation, and then that is how you dye when you submerge your fabric into the indigo vat, but you need oxygen. So there would be a reaction because initially it will be copper, but when exposed in oxygen, it becomes blue. So it's a very, it takes skill to learn indigo.
And chemistry.
And chemistry, yes. And traditionally, our indigenous artisans, it's natural. The art and the chemistry.
It's passed on.
Yes, it's
The
passed
movement, no? Parang kayang-kaya nilang gawin.
Look how
Can
red
we
this
try?
is.
on. Oh, yes.
Oo nga.
Right here.
What is this?
This is a pangwood powdered in the
Ah, ito
powdered
yun.
form. Yes. So it turns out orange, but when it's produced, this is the initial pigment dye. And here, the fun thing about our workshops, we make it more fun for children, so learners, so they would take interest in natural dyes at a very young age.
Right. Para paglaki nila, they're
Yes.
conscious about the environment.
Exactly. They would know where their color comes from, which part of the plant. From the root, from the bark, from the leaf. They should know the scientific name of the plant. They should know how it's grown, when is the right time to pick it.
Hence
and to make
the
it more
books,
fun.
too.
Yes.
Okay, but before we go to the books, let's try the silk.
Oh,
Ah,
yes.
sige,
Okay,
sige,
okay,
sige.
Okay, here I have here, this is the
Pawi
most
here.
common. It's very
Where's your
fun.
That's the
very-
luyang dilaw.
Luyang dilaw, rendered into a paste. So simply,
How do you make it a paste?
we use binders. There are different recipes for binders.
Can we, like, how do we learn to do that? Do you have, like, an online resource? Wait, let me hand it to you, Pao.
You can take a workshop in the Hobby Fair this
Yes,
Sunday.
This
Okay.
Sunday.
Wala kang ginagawa Sunday?
It's best
Yeah,
if you do it on a
Sunday,
flat
medyo
surface.
chill day. Pwedeng
Oh, in a
pumunta.
flat
Yeah,
surface.
flat
Okay.
Okay.
Since I'm wearing pants.
Thanks,
Oh,
Pawi.
tama.
We're taking one for the team.
Pawi.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do that on cardboard?
Yes. On card. This is watercolor paper.
So this is enough, teacher.
Yes.
Actually, that's enough.
Yes. Okay, just 2 swipes.
2 swipes.
Okay.
Does it have to be
Ganyan.
madaliin?
Oo.
That's right. And then one flip it,
Ay.
and then one going
Sorry
up.
naman.
Eh, paano yan? Nasira na? Hindi naman.
Squeegee away.
There you
Yung mga chismis.
What color is this, teacher?
Okay,
Vanessa?
let's see.
It looks brown, but
Wow!
Pawi, you're so
Abutanding!
I'm an artist now.
There you go.
I love it.
Your very own artwork. See, when children do that, they can instantly have a creative product from their own hands.
You mean the workshop's just for children? Hindi pwedeng mga,
Oh, syempre, kailangan samahan sila. They have to be attended.
I want to attend!
Yes, that's why it's parent-child workshop. So the
Wala
parents,
kaming child. Pwede ba kami na lang?
pwede naman. If you have a niece or nephew or young at heart, you're young at heart and
Young
you're
at heart,
you're a
yes.
lifelong learner. So everyone is qualified to be part of the workshop.
What made you go into this? I understand you were in theater before.
Oh, yeah.
You had different advocacies.
I worked for Artisan Studio in Antipolo, and we did fine art fabrics then, so custom dyed fabrics and block printing. But then later on, when I left, I learned that my colleagues went into natural dye, thanks to the training given by DOST, Philippine Textile
PTRI.
Research
PTRI
Institute.
has, yeah.
Yes, they're so open and very encouraging for people to go into natural dye. So when I found out and I saw their beautiful creations, I said, why don't we teach kids these lovely things? So we kind of programmed it, how can we make it fun and easy and not too scary, and the parents won't freak out that they're slicing and cooking.
Yeah.
So
They might injure
Yes.
themselves. This is fun. Yeah.
So it turned out to be a cooking show, an art show with laundry because they have to wash, they have to hang their clothes. And what's wonderful about it, when they did the silk screen printing, the kids were, oh, I have to make sure I get all the colors. Don't waste it. It took me 1 hour to boil it. So they would learn to be really conscious and really appreciative of our environment.
Start them young.
Yes, start
But
them young.
what damage is done to the environment by using all these chemical-produced colors in fast fashion,
Yes.
for instance? Yeah.
That's a #1 pollutant right now from the water pollutants. It's from the synthetic dyes from garment industry. So every day we have how many tons of fabrics, but also the dyes, synthetics, get very harsh chemicals. So when it goes into our water system, the aquatic resources are very affected. That's why when we do our workshops, we make sure that the subjects are for endemic or endangered species. So they would understand that, oh, I have to take care of my environment so I could take care of these plants and animals.
Like the indigo is that just grown in Abra, or can we plant it
It's
in
all
other
over.
provinces? Magtatanim din ako niyan.
We grow it all over. It's usually by the shore. And there's a theory that the native name of indigo in Abra is tayum.
Tayum.
And then in Manila, we have tayuman. We have local barangay in Abra that's tayum. And it's even the codex, the Boxer Codex.
Yes.
Remember that their wardrobe
garments
was made from indigo color. So it's really endemic. It's a very common color right back then because it was grown everywhere. Abra, in Mangyan, you have it. Bukidnon, they have it.
And how different is our indigo compared to, let's say, Japan? No, Japan also does a lot, uses a lot of indigo.
Because they're famous also for their
Yes,
jeans.
the shibori dyeing.
We should market our own.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? What quality do we have
We
that
also
makes us stand out?
Ours is a very substantial indigo dye, the Philippine indigo. We just need more farmers. We need more people to plant it because the demand may not meet the
supply may not meet the demand eventually.
Yes, exactly.
This is turmeric.
Yes.
Pag linaban to, hindi yan mawawala?
Eventually, it will. So it needs care, proper care, hand wash. Do not
throw it into the
washing machine. No bleach and no harsh sun exposure because sun bleaches natural dyes. But that's also beautiful thing about natural dyes. It changes through time, and you will observe the gradations in color and the variations as time goes by.
Part of the charm.
Yes,
Yeah.
the charm.
And also, I guess on the skin, on your body, you wear it. It's
Does it
natural.
transfer?
It's safe.
Sometimes it does.
When it's new.
Talaga ba?
When it's new.
But that's why we have to.
Pagtanggal mo, blue na yung balat mo.
That's why it's also important when you do natural dye, you really have to train and study your material because with proper preparation, fabric preparation, and how you treat your fabrics before and after dyeing, we could make the color last longer.
It probably works better if your fabric is also natural, like
Yes.
cotton.
It should be.
Naman, what's the point?
Kasi kung synthetic, parang
It should be.
It doesn't-
will not absorb.
It will
siguro.
not.
absorb.
So-
Ayaw niya.
Yes. It
Gusto
will
niya
just wash
natural
away.
din.
Okay, and then do you have these books here?
Yes.
There's a whole lot.
These are beautiful publications. So far, an earlier publication by DOST Forestry Products, FPRDI, they did a survey of plant dye sources in the Philippines, including how to grow them, what are the growing conditions.
Are you selling this in the fair? No.
No. These were gifted. So I hold them very
But
precious.
see, this is at least we have,
Yes.
one agency, government agency that's working.
And
They really try to document all these
Yes.
like old methods, indigenous methods, right?
Yeah.
In the DOST.
And also the scientific way of doing it. So this is by PTRI. This is a more substantial sources. It lists around 200 plants.
What's the commercial application, though? Are there people who have already begun to, make it a business, an entrepreneur?
Yes, yes. A lot of cooperatives now also utilize natural dyes in their clothing and their retail, and a lot of fashion designers are now incorporating natural dye into their apparel, and they're also training to do it themselves. So it's commercially viable, and it can be a source of income for the farmers and for the artisans.
Great. Now, how to get to you? There is a workshop this coming Sunday, right?
Yes.
Tell us all about it para our viewers can...
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're inviting everyone that we're going to have a workshop this coming Sunday, October 12, for the Likhang Habi Market Fair at Space at 1 Ayala. We will have the Kulay Ani Natural Dye Workshop, which is a parent-child team-up. And we're also teaming up with Datu Pachola Untod for custom dyeing and custom print workshop. So Kulay Ani and Custom Print Lab. We're inviting you to join.
Socials so that we can follow you. I'm sure like
She's on
squeegeeing
Instagram.
Yes, and Instagram, Playbox Arts PH, and on Facebook, Playbox Arts and Workshops.
Playbox Arts PH. Okay.
Thank you for the work you do.
Thank
Now,
you.
we hope more and more will, use natural dyes in their creations.
Yes,
Yeah.
we hope so too.
That was Vanessa Liwanag Librero of Playbox Arts and Workshops.
All right, and that's it for the Big Story this Thursday. Thank you so much for watching.
We're back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. We'll see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.